of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly help you, because throughout the session I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, and these keywords and the key phrases will certainly help you to identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be very useful for prelims examinations. And while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing, so that you will score higher marks, because your answers in the mains would be precise and concise. And therefore this session, that is the daily news analysis, will certainly help you to score more marks in the mains 2020, as well as you can certainly crack prelims and mains 2021. So do follow the entire session of AKS IAS Academy daily news analysis. And this session is of daily newspaper analysis of the Hindu, that is today's, that is 1st of December 2020. And before I get into the DNA, we will look at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day is, do something today that your future self will thank you for. So certainly what is very important is you need to make sure that you are in the mode or in the platform of what your goal is. So certainly you have to do or accomplish to be part of your goal every day, so that will definitely make sure that your future is safe, and definitely that future self will thank you forever. And before I get into the topic, that is daily news analysis, I would say a very good morning to all, one and all, who are in the live and also in the live chat. Malvika Sajivan, D Suvarna, and everyone, a warm welcome to you all. And now we'll get into the daily news analysis. And the news which we have is in regards to the Shanghai Cooperation Organizations, wherein there was the heads of the government meeting has taken place in India, and it was chaired by the Vice President of India, M. Venkaiah Naidu. And while he has chaired the meeting, he has also made it very clear, or he has emphasized that the biggest challenge for this core region is the cross-border terrorism. And this has been emphasized at the SCO heads of the government, comprising of India, Russia, China, Pakistan and the 4 Central Asian countries. That is, in total you have the 5 Central Asian countries, but only one, Tajikistan, is the special invitee, and the rest 4 Central Asian countries are part of the SCO heads of the government. So entire SCO heads of the government are total 8, that is India, Russia, China, Pakistan 4, and the 4 from the Central Asian countries. So definitely India, while it has made it very clear that the cross-border terrorism is the biggest challenge for all the countries which are belonging to the Shanghai Cooperation Organizations, India was also concerned about the state-sponsored terrorism. Certainly it was indirectly emphasizing the Pakistan, the country Pakistan, which is supporting and then sponsoring terrorism. And India has made it very clear that terrorism is truly the enemy of humanity itself. So it does not pertain to any particular boundary or country, but it is the enemy, that is the terrorism is truly the enemy of humanity, and definitely it has to be combated, or it has to be handled collectively. So the importance of being collective and collectively combating the enemy of humanity, that is terrorism, is the need of the hour, which has been emphasized and made it very clear by the chairperson of this core heads of the government, that is Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu, saying that cross-border terrorism is the biggest challenge. And he has also made it very clear that the concern is about the threats which are being emerging from the ungovernment spaces, or else the parallel government which are running in various countries. So these ungovernment spaces are the particular concern that the states, few countries have leveraged terrorism and that is an instrument of state policy which is being taken up by few of the countries or the states which are definitely emerging as the ungoverned spaces. So definitely this is the keyword, that is ungoverned states, and those are now acting as the instrument of state policy. And definitely there was a joint statement which was at the end of the meeting, but there was no mention, however, made no reference to terrorism. So definitely, even though India has raised a concern about the cross-border terrorism, which is the biggest challenge for all the countries belonging to the SCO organization, but the joint communique or the joint statement of the SCO heads of the government had no reference to terrorism. And definitely the SCO council, that is the heads of the government council, has focused on trade and economic issues, that is the issues on trade and economy, that all the countries as a group should be committed and they have to be cooperating in regards to 5 areas. And what the 5 areas that the entire SCO council has to be committed to cooperating is, the first one is the prevention and control of infectious and non-infectious disease. So this is in regards to the health. And the second one is the responding to sanitary and epidemiological emergencies. Again, this is related to health. And the third one is eliminating the consequences of COVID-19 pandemic, again pertaining to health itself. Countering the circulation of counterfeit medicines. This is again part of the health, wherein making it very clear that there would not be any kind of counterfeit medicines circulation which would again create a problem to the health, or any kind of black market scenario wouldn't arise. And developing medical tourism. So definitely this is the one which is pertaining along with the trade and economy. Now the focus is in regards to the health. So what is that you need to keep a track of it is, along with trade and economic issues, even the SCO council heads of the government in 2020 have been discussed about being committed in cooperating in regards to the health because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And the chairperson has also said that there has to be a sustainable economic recovery in the entire SCO member countries, and this can happen, or the sustainable economic recovery keyword is dependent on open trading practices, and definitely this has to be in compliance with the multilateral rules of trade. So definitely this sustainable economic recovery would be a successful one only through open trading practices and following or sticking to the rules or norms of multilateral rules of trade. And certainly the chairperson has called for reforms in the global institutions such as WHO. So definitely India is looking or wanting or emphasizing on the multilateral reforms, especially in the WHO and also in the World Trade Organization and the United Nations Security Council. And now if you look at the other side of it, that India is definitely not happy with the OBOR or the Belt and Road Initiative which has been taken up by China, and that is being part of the China-Pakistan economic corridor which is passing through the Gilgit and Baltistan, which is, India says it is an integral part of India. So it is only India which is being exception in all the entire SCO members, that is 8 member countries, but the others, that is Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and then Russia, Tajikistan, or all, even Pakistan, are all supporting the Chinese One Belt One Road initiative. And definitely a joint implementation of the projects is being taken up, that is OBOR or BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, is being taken up with the European Economic Union. So certainly there is an exception what India is raising the concern in regards to the OBOR or the BRI, but all the rest of the SCO countries, that is 7 member countries, are definitely have expressed their support in regards to the Chinese OBOR or Belt and Road Initiative, and India has refused the Belt and Road Initiative in the year 2017 itself, and it has protested against the Chinese projects that they are being taken up in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, that is, which is passing through the Gilgit and Baltistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is part of the Belt and Road Initiative. And India has definitely said or refused, because it says the CPEC is certainly passing through the POK, and the other one is it lacks, that is BRA lacks the transparency and sustainability in what the Chinese have taken the initiative in regards to the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is part of the Belt and Road Initiative. So certainly this is very important information, that these core heads of the government have raised the concern in regards to that the cross-border terrorism is the biggest challenge which India has raised a concern, and it wanted that the terrorism is definitely enemy of humanity, and it has to be made sure that the ungoverned spaces which are acting as the instrument of state policy has to be combated collectively. But the most concerned thing is, in the joint communique there is no reference of terrorism. And before I get into the next slide, I would say very good morning to Harika also, a warm welcome to you. And there is another news which is in regards to the Health Ministry, that is the Union Health Ministry has released the SOP, that is Standard Operating Procedures on preventive measures, so that how the country can come together and contain the spread of COVID-19, the virus which is going on, or it is spreading virulent now. We have seen in the month of November, the virus, the number of cases in regards to the mortality and morbidity, or morbidity and mortality, is certainly increasing, and this is a cause of concern which has been raised by the Union Health Ministry, and it has released the SOPs, that is Standard Operating Procedures, so that it is cautioning the shopkeepers, employees and the visitors who are living in the containment zones. So the Standard Operating Procedures as part of the preventive measures guidelines are certainly making a reference to the persons who are living in the containment zone, that is the one who are living in the containment zone. Part of it could be the shopkeepers, employees or visitors shall not be allowed to enter into the marketplaces. So definitely the place which is now being looked at as the spreading the virus or the super spreader can be from the marketplaces. So certainly taking into consideration that the virus might spread and the morbidity and mortality can be surged during the festival seasons and also the onset of the monsoon season. And again there are we have seen Dasera, Diwali and the forthcoming Christmas festival can be a breeding ground for the spread of virus. So therefore the Standard Operating Procedures have been released by the Union Health Ministry, and we will now focus at the Standard Operating Procedures which have been part of the preventive measures to caution that the one who are living in the economic or containment zones should not be allowed to enter into the market zone. So the first one is levying or introducing fines and penalties to the one who are not wearing mask or face cover and who are not maintaining physical distances. And the second SOP is the government, that is the Union Health Ministry, is exploring various options of allowing the markets or the shops to open on alternate days, so that the congregation of the people or the visitors or will not take place in the marketplaces, so that we can contain the spread of virus. And the third SOP is they are coming up with the possible incentive or discounts for those who shop during the non-peak hours. So definitely they wanted to make sure that is the Union Health Ministry wish that there will not be much of congregation, or then in the marketplace there should not be any crowd. And definitely the closure of markets, if at all there is large number of cases which are reported by or with epidemiological links to the market by the district administration, if it is reported, then there would be a closure of markets. Even that is part of the SOP. And there should be an effective crowd management. This is a keyword, that the one local metro rail stoppages at stations directly feeding into market. So definitely there has to be looked at the effective crowd management, and by providing a provision of online booking and also a delivery at doorsteps should be encouraged in regards to the groceries or various items. So that is also part of the standard operating procedures. And staffs should be screened thermally. The one, that is the vendors who are taking into consideration for the home deliveries, should also be taken into consideration that they are screened thermally. And CCTV monitoring should be considered to detect overcrowding, and staggered time, that is a different timings of opening of the shops should be explored so that they should not be crowded. That means taking into consideration of the effective crowd management, so that they would be remain open for a longer duration, but take into consideration of the effective crowd management. So these are the standard operating procedures which the Union Health Ministry has released as a preventive measures to make sure that the one who are in the containment zone should not be allowed into the marketplaces, to make sure that the break of the chain of the SARS-CoV-2 virus can be effectively taken into consideration by the standard operating procedures. And there is another news which talks about that Center is now ready to convene an all-party meet on the sidelines of the COVID-19, and the government has now confirmed that the floor leaders of all the political parties in the parliament have been invited by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, that is Prahlad Joshi, that there would be a meeting on December 4th, so that the meeting would be in regards to the discussion of the COVID-19 situation. So definitely there is a sense or the message being sent by the union government that this situation of COVID-19 situation or the COVID-19 pandemic has to be handled at this time, at this situation, or else there would be a surge in the morbidity and the mortality cases pertaining to SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. So definitely the meeting will be chaired by the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Modi, through the video conference on the December 4th morning. And there was earlier discussed, that is in the monsoon session of the parliament, in the earlier there was a discussion that there is a possibility of merging the winter and budget session. So even that is a possibility that it could be discussed, that whether there is any feasibility of merging the winter and budget session, so that taking into consideration of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And Mr. Modi is expected to brief the party leaders through that video conference to all the floor leaders of the political parties that official 6 vaccine manufacturing facilities are available, and this is the, this meeting or the video conferencing meeting is the second all party meet which the government of India has taken an initiative to discuss the COVID-19 situation with all the political parties, that is the floor leaders of all the political parties. And this meeting has been invited by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi on December 4th. And there is another news which talks about no separate flag and no separate constitution for Nagaland. So we know that, as I have discussed earlier also, the issue in Nagaland, that is in regards to the NSCN or NSCN IM and NSCN K, that is Isak and Mua, and Isak and Mua, there is one outfit, and the other one outfit which is being headed by Kaplan, Nationalist Socialist Council of Nagaland. So in regards to this, that NSCN or the Nagas wanted a separate state itself. That is, they wanted to make sure that all the Naga speaking people who are in Assam, Mizoram and also in Arunachal Pradesh and even in Myanmar, that they would all come together and they would have the separate state, that is Greater Nagalim. But the Nagaland governor R.N. Ravi has made it very clear that there will not be any separate flag or any separate constitution, which is the persistent or continuous demand made by the NSCN IM, so that there would be a solution to the Naga political issues. So definitely the Naga political issue is certainly 102 years of Naga political issue which is been taken up, and the Nagas definitely wanted a separate flag and separate constitution, and they also wanted a separate state of all the Naga speaking people or citizens. But Nagaland Governor R.N. Ravi has made it very clear in his message on the 50th Statehood Day of Nagaland, as not only as the governor of Nagaland but as the interlocutor for the Naga peace process. So R.N. Ravi is definitely the governor of Nagaland, and also he is the interlocutor, that is the being as a mediator between the central government and the Nagas, that is various groups of Nagas. So in regards to the Naga peace process, he has made it very clear that India is in its unity in diversity, and definitely there is no chance or no probability of having a separate flag and constitution as the Nagas are demanding, and they feel that having a separate flag and separate constitution would be a solution to the Naga political issue. But the interlocutor and the governor, Mr. R.N. Ravi, has said that India is its unity in diversity, and certainly he has made it very clear that national flag and the Indian constitution are certainly the pride of people of India, and definitely it will be across all the states in India will have this same national flag and constitution. And the government of India has made it very clear that there shall be only one national flag and one constitution across India, and also made it very clear that the pride of India, unity in diversity, and the territorial integrity and sovereignty of India are supreme. And at this juncture, if there is any misadventure to disintegrate the great nation that is India, so R.N. Ravi, the governor of Nagaland, has made it very clear that the government of India will not tolerate any kind of misadventure to disintegrate India by the demand of Greater Nagalim, or the Nagas wanting a separate national flag, separate flag and constitution for Naga or Nagas. That is the demand of NSCN, IM, ISAC and MUA. And definitely there is a demand for integration. Now this is also another demand. So along with the flag, constitution, there is a demand for integration of Naga inhabited areas in other states along with Nagaland, that is the Naga inhabited areas or the Naga speaking people in Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh, that has to be brought together and formed a particular integration of Naga inhabited area called as Greater Nagalim. This is the originally sought or the idea of NSCM IM. So along with the separate flag and constitution, what is also the demand of Nagas or NSCM is Greater Nagalim. So this is the one which you need to focus, that how best you can link it with the Naga issues, the internal security, part of the internal security, and the Naga political issue which is almost for 102 years which is been pending. And if you look at this, they wanted to have the regions or inhabited areas of Assam, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, and look at it. This is a border between India and Myanmar. But if you look at the shaded area, they would wish to even have the areas of Myanmar also. So this is the Greater Nagalim, which is been demanded by the NSCN. So part of Myanmar is also being taken into consideration, that the Naga speaking or inhabited areas also fall into the Myanmar country. So this is a kind of misadventure to disintegrate the territorial integrity, sovereignty, pride of the people, and also the unity in diversity. So definitely the governor of Nagaland, that is R.N. Ravi, has made it very clear that there is no question of having a separate flag and separate constitution for Nagaland, or which is demanded by NSCM. So this is an information or the news which we have analyzed in regards to the internal security in regards to the Naga political issue. So do consider this from mains perspective, mains 2020. So there could be a question pertaining to the northeast areas. And then Gauri Naidu has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Gauri Naidu. And there is one more philosophy which connects this core nation, that is all the 8 member countries, that is Buddhist philosophy, 8 member nation. So the Vice President of India, the one who has chaired the SCO Council of Heads of the Government, is Venkaiah Naidu, and he has launched a virtual exhibition on the Buddhist heritage, and he has said that this Buddhist heritage share with the SCO countries, definitely the Buddhist philosophy and the art of Central Asia connects SCO countries to each other. Discuss in the mains examination 2020. There could be a probability Buddhist philosophy or Buddhist diplomacy. You can have it this Buddhist philosophy or Buddhist diplomacy and art of Central Asia, or else in regards to Buddhist philosophy and the art of Central Asia, which is part of the Buddhist diplomacy by India, would connect these co-member countries to each other. Discuss. This is for the mains examination. And the Cultural Ministry have said that this kind of exhibition, that is the transnational exhibition among the 8 member countries of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, would certainly have the potential to connect, to heal, and to regenerate communities, especially during the current COVID-19 pandemic situation. So the keywords are connect, heal, and regenerate. And this exhibition also includes Buddhist treasures from India, that is including the Gandhara and Mathura schools, Nalanda and Sarnath. The entire treasures have been displayed in the 3D format in regards to the Buddhist philosophy, which is the definitely a transnational exhibition. So Gandhara, Mathura schools, Nalanda and Sarnath. So these are the 4 schools which have been displayed, which are part of the Buddhist treasures from India, which is part of the transnational exhibition. So do consider this for prelims perspective. Gandhara, Mathura, Nalanda and Sarnath. And the objects are also been depicted, that is the life of Gautama Buddha, which are from Karachi, Lahore, Taxila, Islamabad, Swat areas and Peshawar museums are also been part of the transnational exhibition, which will definitely has the potential to connect, heal and regenerate communities across all the 8 SCO countries in the current pandemic times. So certainly this is again very crucial information which you can certainly take it as a short notes in regards to the Buddhism diplomacy or Buddhist philosophy and the transnational exhibition which shares the Buddhist heritage of all the 8 SCO countries. And there is another news which talks about consumer spending. So here the keyword is consumer spending. This is in regards to the economy, how the economy of the country would definitely rebound or surge in the year 2021. So we all know because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, the economic activity has been damaged and the business revival is not certainly happening the way it should happen. So definitely the consumer spending is not too high, but the consumer spending to be rebound, to surge in the year 2021, and that is the report by the rating agency, that is Fitch rating agencies. And this has said that, so definitely because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, there was contraction in the consumer spending. There was contraction in the consumer spending in the year 2020, but the consumer spending or the household spending will definitely return to growth in the year 2021. In the year 2021, wherein this consumer spending or the household spending will certainly expand to 6.6 percentage. Expand to 6.6 percentage. So if we compare the contraction, that is the negative side of the consumer spending or the household spending during the COVID-19 pandemic situation in the year 2020 has been contracted to 12.6 percentage in 2020. So this is minus, but in the year 2021, as per Fitch rating agencies, the consumer spending will be expanded to 6.6 percent. So definitely the report of the Fitch rating agency is definitely sending a message or forecasting a message that there would be a rebound in regards to the consumer spending, which will add to the positive growth of the economic growth of the country in the year 2021 by 6.6 percentage, which was minus 12.6 percentage in the year 2020, and this will certainly return to positive trend in the year 2021. But definitely there is an apprehension that the Fitch rating agency says that we do not note the recovery will be slower than most countries. Definitely there was a contraction in the year 2020, but there will be a positive return of growth of India in regards to the consumer spending in the year 2021. But the Fitch rating says that we do not know the recovery will be slower than most countries. So there will be a recovery in regards to the consumer spending in India, but the consumer spending in India's recovery will be slower than the other countries. And Avanti Mahalakshmi has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Avanti Mahalakshmi, to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And the Fitch rating has also emphasized on the unemployment, and certainly the unemployment is at the higher rate, that is the graph is increasing, it is at heightened pace, and this is because of not much of government support measures is being taken up, and these government support measures are being questioned, and certainly the unemployment is at a peak now. And the Fitch Solutions, that is the rating agency, forecast that they would be returned to pre-COVID-19 levels in the second half of 2021 and 2022. So look at, definitely there could be somewhere around 12 to 24 months of time which would take to return to normalcy. And definitely if we are talking about the consumer spending and the household spending, the household budgets in the 2020 has been prioritized is that is the food and non-alcohol drinks, have been prioritized in the household budgets. So therefore, the growth in spending on these items, that is the food and non-alcoholic drinks, will slightly lower in 2020. Slightly lower in 2020, but it will return back to the positive trend, positive growth in the second half of 2021 and 2022. So certainly now we will focus at the recapitulate of DNA. We have looked at the how the cross-border terrorism is the biggest challenge, and this you need to focus in regards to the internal security, which has been discussed in the SCO, that is the SCO Council of Heads of the Government, and Health Ministry has come up with the new guidelines, and this is again in regards to the health, how to contain the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And definitely the center has gone ahead with the second all party meet, has been invited to all the floor leaders in the parliament, and which would be on December 4th, headed by the Prime Minister of India. And this is again in regards to the internal security, especially in the northeastern states, which there could be a possibility that there would be disturbing trends which can be created by the neighboring countries, China or Myanmar. And India had made it very clear, that is the Nagaland governor has made it very clear, there will not be or no separate flag or constitution for Nagaland. And in regards to this Buddhist philosophy, there could be a possibility in regards to the India's foreign policy, how India's foreign policy is taking up even the Buddhist philosophy or the Buddhist ideology or diplomacy, Buddhist diplomacy, which will connect the SCO nations for the betterment. And in regards to the economy point of view, consumer spending will definitely bounce back in 2021 by the Fitch rating agency. This is again in regards to the economy and how the consumer spending or the household spending has to be taken into consideration by the government's measures, which has to be supported. And I hope all this, the analysis what we have focused, have certainly or will certainly help you. And I hope this was an informative and knowledgeable session, and I would thank you all, and I would say good luck and all the best to you all. And then I would again re-emphasize and reiterate to maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, and then take care of physical health and mental health during your course of preparation. And do like the video, share the video, and subscribe the English medium AKS IAS Academy YouTube channel, and also have access to the website and Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. And see you tomorrow at 7:30 AM for the daily news analysis. Thank you very much.